Hey there everybody, this is Shadiko and welcome to the final video of Very Thanks with Advent Dark Force, where basically all I'm going to be doing is just talking about the opinions of my own personal opinions of the game itself. This I'm actually going to be doing because I've actually wrote this down as opposed to when I did the Rebirth 3 one, and decided I was just going to go off the cuff and ended up just pretty much complaining about the same thing for 20 minutes is kind of how I felt like with that. I'm betting that this one's only going to go to last about 5 minutes because it's a little bit more organised, but we'll see when we get there. So, anyway, the game itself, do I recommend it? I do. But, because of the many problems that the Switch version has, I wouldn't recommend buying the Switch version unless you want the portability factor of the Switch. Because there was so many issues that I had with playing on the Switch version, and despite the fact that I went through it and just actually went through the entire playthrough on the Switch, where I could have had the option of the PS4 version or on the PC version, which I have all three for whatever reason. So yeah, I mean I had options to just change which version of the game I played, but I stuck it out on the Switch, and well, I feel like to other people it might have come out alright. There were a lot of times where I've just cut videos because the game crashed like 3 seconds, like literally like 3 or 5 seconds straight into me starting my intro, and I'm just like, hey there everyone, welcome back to, well, the game has crashed again. And other times, which has been off screen, which especially happened when I'm grinding, because since the Switch has the possibility, I can take it to work and on my dinner break, I can do any level grinding I need. But when I I'll set the Switch back into standby mode and go ahead and restart it. Sometimes the game would just like not respond at all after pointing my controller that I was going to use, which was also frustrating. And sometimes I lost progress, and really, that should have been something I learned from when I was doing my Rebirth 2 Let's Play a while ago, but oh well, sometimes even I can be an idiot. But yeah. Yeah, like I said, if you want the possibility of the Switch version, as well as whatever the DLC, because the Switch version came bundled with all the DLC, with the PC and on the PS4 version you still have to buy it, then feel free to buy the Switch version. Otherwise, I would still strongly recommend buying the PS4 or the PC version. They are much more stable, they're not liable to crash or anything. And overall, it's just been, a painful crash-filled experience. Not that you've really seen any of it. That being said, if you are interested in the original version of the game, that's another thing. I would probably still recommend that you do that by the Steam version, because it's just been through experience alone. I have not actually been able to physically find a physical copy of the PS3 version of Very Thanks Wrath, which was what the game was originally released on. I could not find that, and when I have found it, it's been around £30-40 from seeing it brand new, and in certain places I've seen it like the same price for a second-hand copy of the game, which is ridiculous if you ask me. I mean, I'd be fine to pay that new, but not for second-hand. But yeah, on Steam you can buy the game itself as well as all the DLC for that game for about £13, just over that. So yeah, go get the Steam version if you're really interested in playing the original version of the game. Bear in mind that only consists of the Goddess storyline and the Vargod storyline. It has nothing to do with the Evil Goddess storyline whatsoever. But all things said, if I'm hoping that Idea Factory and Combat Heart release another PlayStation 4 port to the Switch, by which I'm kind of thinking Mega Dimension V2. Maybe playtesting it a little bit more than they did, just to make sure that all the problems that Very Thanks F had with its reliability don't actually happen with V2. I mean, the Neptune series is Idea Factory and Compile Heart's like main thing, and has been for like the longest time. So yeah, I'm absolutely taking absolute care that nothing goes wrong with it is paramount if it comes out. That being said, I would rather, instead of them just outright releasing V2 to the Switch, like starting with the Rebirth trilogy, for example, just to make sure that all the main games do end up on the Switch somehow, if they do that. Because from what I've seen, they have actually been releasing a lot of the PS Vita ports to the Switch, and from what I've seen and or heard, they've actually been relatively stable in comparison to Final Fantasy F. So yeah, really hoping that they do put the Rebirth on first before going for V2. So yeah, I mean, there is the fact that they did really do excuse me, they did actually release Super Neptune RPG for the Switch, along with the PS4, and despite the fact that it had some, it does have some minor issues that I've seen and what people have told me. Those have actually been patched out. Well, most of them have. I'll be honest, I've not really played Super Neptune RPG apart from like the intro of the game, and that's about it. I kind of really need to get started on that myself. But I digress. The thing is, I doubt that they would make any patches for Final Fantasy F. I mean, the game is actually older than the Switch itself, so I doubt that's actually going to happen. So unfortunately, we kind of left with the mess of Final Fantasy F that on the Switch that it currently is. So yeah. So biggest gripe out of the way. They get the actual game itself. The play it's relatively decent to play. I liked a lot of the features that came with it, despite the fact that a lot of the mechanics are similar to Neptune games, and I've played at least like the Rebirth trilogy, so I knew how that was going to happen. I did approve of the weapon boost system, where you gain weapon points and use them to customize attacks, to obtain attacks, customizable attacks, and get abilities and spells. I think if we could compare it, I think it's the sphere system in Final Fantasy X. I honestly don't know. It's Final Fantasy games. The only Final Fantasy game I really played to completion was 6, and I haven't really touched any other Final Fantasy games since then. I'll put my hands up to that one, but I digress. Like I said, Final Fantasy F is a really fun JRPG romp. Like I said, if you're familiar with the Neptunia franchise, a lot of the mechanics will be useful to you. Like I said, I like the weapon boost mechanic. I also like the dashing mechanic that they had. From what I can tell, not very many things really had this mechanic where you just do like a run or a temporary dash just to get through dungeons quicker. And I know it hasn't really been in any other Idea Factory JRPGs. I think after this one, the next game that actually, from my memory, I could be wrong here. Clear everything up in the comments if you want to. But I think the next game that had like a dashing mechanic would have been Neptune versus Sega Hard Girls, and then it got implemented into V2R with the stamina mechanic for whatever reason. I don't know why. It was a stupid thing to do, but like I said, I'm digressing. I'm kind of also going a little bit off topic here, but yeah, I really like the dash mechanic and the weapon boost things are the main things I really liked. The storyline was great. I like the music of the game. A lot of the times when I really like a game, the music's also generally good as well. So that's probably a thing for me. And the storylines, I quite like the storylines. How different each storyline is to point. Like for example, while the goddess storyline is basically Fang carrying on from the timeline split of being the protagonist and saving the day, but the Val God scenario, it instead switches to Sherman's part Sherman's turn to take the spotlight from the protagonist. And I think really with Evil Goddess is really just fanging him, but with other things thrown in, and the fact that Sherman isn't actually the big bad this time, even though it kind of implies right at the start that he might be. But at the same time, it's kind of obvious that he isn't, since he's like showing up like more or less straight away. That being said, I want to talk about the endings, specifically the Evil Goddess ending, because that particular ending where the old man, the woman, in the silhouettes are talking, which I believe are the same old man and girl that Sherman saves right at the beginning of the game. It actually implied that there might have been a sequel planned if Everett Darkforce actually sold well, which I don't think it did. So yeah, I think if there's going to be a potential sequel, there's going to be more likely that Vert is going to get her own Hyperdimension Neptunia spin-off before a Fairy Fencer 2 is going to happen. So yeah, and before anybody goes in the comments saying, "Oh, Cyberdimension was Vert's spin-off game," I'm going to disagree with you with that, because unlike Hyper Devotion and which one is it, Mega Tagmention, those two had the other protagonist name in the title. Hyper Devotion was basically Hyper Devotion Noir Goddess Blackheart, and Mega Tagmention was Mega Tagmention Blind and Neptune versus Zombies. So yeah, I don't count Cyberdimension purely on the fact that it doesn't mention Vert in the name of the game title, and also because essentially from what I've played of Cyberdimension, it isn't actually any focus on Vert, unlike like I said, like the aforementioned Hyper Devotion and Mega Tag. There's actually no focus on Vert. I mean, granted, Vert's pretty much the least popular CPUs from what I can figure out. So that's kind of like a thing. So yeah. That being said, I'm also a little bit off topic here. So in summary, I think the game is good. It's only really fun the first time you play the story, because there's no post game in this storyline, much like any other Idea Factory game. I mean, I think Rebirth 3 again is probably the only game I've played of those that's had a post game. Otherwise had the potential for a post game. But yeah, after you've completed all three stories, the only thing you'd probably really be motivated in doing with the game is doing the Road of Thorns achievement, which is you need to complete the game on hard or hell difficulty without changing the difficulty afterwards. So that could be something you could do as a challenge. Maybe I'd do in the future on a Twitch stream or something when I'm everything on my internet's a little bit better and not complete garbage. But yeah, that's pretty much the only thing you probably want to do, and then after that it'll probably just going to sit in the on the Switch, on the memory card of the Switch, or on this, if you've got the PS4 version, probably just gathering dust on shelves somewhere. So yeah, there's not really much gameplay after beating all the stories, but like I said, there is still like play hard mode without changing the difficulty achievement, and that's about it. But anyway, that's pretty much my thoughts on this game. Thank you for hearing me out on this, and yeah, I want to thank you all for watching. Take care, and I will see you later for whatever else I want to play next, because I haven't actually decided that at the time of recording this. So yeah, take care, and I will see you guys later. Ciao!